Welcome back to part two of this epic July 22nd Conspiracy Worldwide radio podcast. We aired on the live show 45 minutes then of the Canibus and Architect interview. We now drop the remainder of that interview, 50 more minutes with Canibus and Architect.
Put it down, then leave it alone, and then go do something else.
I need to obviously pick up on that from what you're saying there. But I will do that in a second because I wanted to ask you about Rip the Jacket 2. This album, Lyrical Law, that we're talking about, we have been talking about in the interview, obviously it's a collection of ciphers, this is what this is. And there were, of course, like you know more than anybody, your fans are still salivating for Rip the Jacket 2. You know this. They've been doing that for months, if not years. They've been wanting to know more. And like you say, they don't always know what they've got when you do deliver. But quite a few fans wanted a marathon song, didn't they, on this Lyrical Law? They wanted Canibus on his own, 10 minutes. This is what they want. I'm suspecting with Rip the Jacket 2, that will be a very high possibility, if not a certainty, that they're going to be fed with what they need on that.
Yeah, I can't really see anybody being unsatisfied at the 10,000 bars, man. I just don't know how. But that being said, that's later on down the line. I mean, I don't know who's got as many marathon songs as I do. I'm trying to remember. I think the first one was 100 bars. That's when no MC was rhyming no 100 bars. Am I wrong? Was there anybody out there with 100 bars, Montana?
No, that I'm aware of. No, that was the first.
All right.
First of my ears, anyway, when that came out.
All right, cool. So that was the first marathon song. That was 2000, and then the second one was I think it was Bis versus Rip, and then Poet Laureate, the first Poet Laureate that was on Mic Club, Mic Club, the curriculum, and then after that there was pretty much a marathon song on every album after that, except for like the group albums like DEFCON 0 and the Underguards, but there was a marathon song damn near on every album. So. Lyrical Law, I put Rip versus Poet Laureate as the marathon song because it is a marathon song, and and it's a homage to the mixers to show that I do loud and clear. I hear their contributions, and I want the world to hear it too. I wanted to share it with the world, and you know what I'm saying. Besides that, I feel like marathon songs. I mean, when you talk Rip the Jacket, I mean, that's what you're gonna get. So. Pretty much everybody just got to hold on to their horses until they get that.
Now, you mentioned there, as we were going through the interview there, something we'd not obviously planned for, but you mentioned there that there could be a time, and there probably will be a time, where, like an amazing football player, soccer player, that you'll say, look, I'm at the top of my game. Everybody will remember me as one of the best that ever played this sport of MCing and hip-hop, and that's when I'll leave.
I feel that way already. Like, I already feel as though I put music out there that is one of a kind, and like I went as far as I could go with it. I already feel that way. Like, I've done that already. I feel as though in terms of what you want to talk about, like bars. What type of beats? I mean, what area of hip hop do you want to talk about that I haven't? I'm not talking about. Yeah, I mean, even like radio records. I did that early on in my career. I made records that were for the radio. I made records that were less intimidating. I've done storytelling records. I've done biographical songs. I've done autobiographical songs. I've done songs where I've played the part of another person or place or thing, like the HIV is gold, AIDS is platinum record. It's just a lot of songs. So and sometimes when I sit there and I go through the catalog myself, I get bewildered and I get lost. So maybe I should have maybe I should have had a cutoff point, like a point that I said I wanted to get to and then stop, because at some point it starts to feel as though you're just spinning tires, and no one can see you in the middle spinning tires. I've been spinning tires so long, so it's just a lot of smoke. You understand what I'm saying? And so they can't even see what's in the middle making the smoke. They just see the result of that. Yeah, you know, yeah.
Well put, well put. Now, when it comes to your body of work, a lot of people, fans and critics both alike, they tend to rate Rip the Jacker as being your most consistent and strongest set to date. But what about yourself? I mean, when you look back and reflect on Rip the Jacker, look back and reflect on all the other albums and singles and 12 inches and such you've done, how do you rate your catalog? How do you rate Rip the Jacker? What's your favorite album, favorite song as such?
I want to say that all the albums, I say that because of how everything went down, just how everything went down. Looking back, you know, in hindsight, looking at everything, I think that I think that Lyrical Law pretty much showed most of, if not all of the team, like all of the. Show how like we came together and we put, you know, there's a lot of teamwork involved in that album, and I felt like it was the smoothest in terms of a team actualizing an album. Like you know, there were other albums that were done, but they weren't done as smoothly. And so I think my favorite is Lyrical Law because it's been in such a long time, like you know, from the very first record that ever released until this one, and to still be going strong on this one. I feel it's an honest and positive testament to the catalog, and you know, and then of course, you know, like the Poetry Infinity, like just with all those mixes. I mean, that's one of my favorite albums, if you will, because it's definitely got more than a dozen albums worth of material when you line up all the mixes and play them back to back. So that's one of my favorite because of the teamwork that was required to make those records, make those songs, and then of course Lyrical Law because it's a good capstone. It's a good capstone to put on that Delta, man. The features from the artist, the production was dope. The rhymes, like Montana, I'm glad you like those rhymes. I mean, it makes me feel good to hear that you saying it was some of the best rhymes. Well, that's good then. So I say that was my favorite then.
Yeah.
Because I got a lot of awesome feedback for the album. So yeah, Lyrical Law is my favorite.
Yeah, excellent. This is what we've been talking about throughout the interview. Lyrical Law, of course, out there, available now, 3 CDs. Now, you mentioned there you would move on to something else. Now, is there a time, or will there be a time, or is this the time, where Canibus develops new artists? And I'm thinking more now about Disc 2 of Lyrical Law. Is that something that you are doing, and is it something you want to continue to do, to actually bring out future lyricists as sharp as yourself?
Well, I tried earlier, like the earliest I tried it was them, right? That was the earliest that I tried to, or that I did. That's the earliest that I attempted to, you know, make an album with like-minded artists, with my air likes. I went on to do the same thing with We Cannot Bust. There were artists on there that you heard for the first time that after that, they sort of, you know, they got their own situations. And then I did the same thing with 2000 BC. I had artists on there. They went on to bigger and better things, do their own thing. Same thing with C2I with Stories. Same thing with Mike Club the Curriculum. Well, I think Mike Club the Curriculum, I just had G Rap on there, so I started to go back to pick up artists that I wanted to work with, and then and that's another thing, man. Like I wanted to bring in like the idea that I want to say thank you to all the artists that I've worked with in the past, particularly like the double OG artists, like from the golden era of hip hop, like the G Raps, the Rakims, the Craig G's, those artists, man. I just I really appreciate the time that they took out to work with me, and I'm glad that I'm glad that I was able to like have a good relationship with them when I did the record with them, because I know that if that's the only memory they got, then it's got to be a good memory. Yeah. And so of me, that is. And so I just say thanks to them, and I want to thank everybody that went out and tried to find Lyrical Law, you know, because I know it was a tedious thing. And by the way, all the all the all the all of the packages have been they'll be mailed out tomorrow. Like there was roughly 600 orders, and so the 550 went out already, have been mailed, and another 50 orders will be mailed between now and tomorrow.
Yeah.
And so so everybody out there that's like waiting on their Lyrical Law package, it should be to you either this week or for the overseas, because half of the orders were from overseas. And so I want to big up the international community for that. Check with your, I don't know how y'all get your records through customs. Sometimes I think it stays there, sometimes 2-3 weeks. I've heard it stays up to 3 weeks in customs. I know people from the UK have been getting their packages now. So pretty much it's like if there's any unique problems, please contact the administrator at Canibus Catalog. Otherwise, just sit tight. Like your package should be to you within the week.
Absolutely, and that's the message to all the people out there, all the thousands which have ordered. I mean, your fans have got complete trust in you, Canibus, with everything, really, and I think that's something that people have had. You know, all these people have been waiting out in the UK and Europe, been waiting for the packages. I think they just trust. Just on the issue you were talking about there, I think you raised an interesting point about some of the golden era MCs, if we say that. But even the album that you put out in 2000, I mean, you brought Rakim back out. Rakim had tried to come back out himself. It had not really worked as I would have thought it would when Rakim comes back with a solo album in 97. He comes back on your album and Rakim's name's back out there. So I spoke to you there asked you about putting new artists out, but in a way, really you're putting these, I mean, we mentioned K Solo. There's another MC that you've put to all these people now waiting for the packages. They're going to get K Solo's voice on the record. So it's not always about bringing out new artists, is it? Sometimes it can be about re-bringing out the old classic artists.
Absolutely. Just like there's, I always say it, man. Like without them, there would be no me. Like there would be no Canibus without those artists, those golden era artists. And so, I remember one time I was trying to get Dougie Fresh on the intro for Whom the Beat Tolls. So, I mean, it's just that has given me partial completion to work with those artists, those pioneer MCs, and then all those records recorded in between that time. It's given me also partial completion, and then this album is giving me partial completion, and I'm really just looking for maybe one or two more goals, and that's it. After that, I pretty much. As far as like rap music, until the templates of rap start to change, hip hop music worldwide, like rap music, until the templates start to change. Like now, I'm wondering if rap is sort of like a oil well that's been tapped for all of its oil. Like all of the black gold is damn near gone, and so it's like people are just thinking up new things to do and then attach the word rap to it, attach hip hop to it, and I don't really know if I just like what is a rapper gonna look like in 10 years or 20 years? I mean, who knows? I know that 20 years ago, hip hop looked how I thought that hip hop was gonna look like that forever, and I was wrong. And hip hop changed, and the look of it changed, the feel of it changed, the consumers changed, the bootleggers changed. I mean. It's a whole different animal now, and so I don't really want to be. I think about those golden era artists when I sort of come to a precipice about what I want to do, and I like how some of them, just they keep making their music, but they don't really wear that. They don't wear the uniform anymore, and so that's what I'd like to do. I like to participate, without wearing a uniform every day, and then also. Insofar as like the question you asked about the new talent, like putting those artists out, to answer your question completely, I do remember putting new artists on almost every album that I put out. as far as signing them artists, I never signed any of them or never tried to put any of them under contract or any paperwork because, because of the things that I deal with in the rap industry or music in general. I didn't want any of them to have to go through that just because I was either the owner of the label or because I was like a partner in it. So that's why I kind of had hands off with those things because, everybody should have a good, clean shot their first time. And, the newer artists that I work with, I do my best to make sure that they have that. Like, we rock together, they showcase their talent, their skills, and then, somebody comes around the corner to scoop them up, you know what I mean? And they do well, they do well.
I always felt that yourself and Journalist had a great chemistry on Wax. I mean, is that something that could be mended anytime soon? You guys collaborate again?
I mean, Jern is my dude. I remember Jern was putting out some mixtapes before. If you remember correctly, like 2000 BC came out. After that, I got off of Universal. And then I went west. I went to LA, and Jern stayed with Universal, and then or Motown, one or the other. I can't remember exactly. And he made some albums. I talked to Jern when I was getting this RTJ2 shit popping earlier on in 09, and I remember doing a track with him that I did 2 tracks with him. I got one of them on Stash, and one of them is kind of like I put it on like a little mixtape thing, and it got a lot of good feedback. So I know Jern felt good about that. I felt good myself. But as you can see, like this album I got out right now, I got a song called "Fight with the Champ." That's for Victor Ortiz and Mayweather, and for that fight that'll be coming up in September. And the guys, they wanted me to do a record, so I did that record. I made "Fight with the Champ." It's on Lyrical Law, it's track number 4.
It's interesting.
And I got Pac-Man on there, and I also got Pac-Man on that album. And for those of you who remember, Pac-Man was on the Seat You Hollywood Stories. I had Pac-Man on there with me, and so to work with Pac-Man in Classic Pac in 2001, and then to turn around and work with him again in 2011, I think that kind of shows that I don't fall out of contact with the artists that I work with unless it's just something that can't be accounted for. But in terms of just normal, natural communication and camaraderie, I keep it. I keep it tight, run a tight ship on that side of things. And so all the artists that I've worked with in the past, don't be surprised to see them just pop up on a feature here and there. I mean, that's how it's been for so many years.
Yeah.
And we had journalists on Melatonin Magic too, didn't we?
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah. That's right. Jern was on Melatonin Magic. So yeah. So thank you, Art. So from 01 to 2010, like, so it's really just what do the people pick up? What do they see? And what do they pick up? I mean, what do they go to get, or what do they go look for? I was promoting Lyrical Law about 2-3 weeks ago, and I remember that a couple kids where I was promoting it at, a couple kids, they came up to me, they said, "Yo, man, you don't rhyme no more? What's up, Bis? Like, yo, I loved your shit back then. Like, you don't rhyme no more?" That was one question, and another question was like, "Yo, what happened with when you gonna drop the next album?" So I know that these are from people who don't even check. If you go to any search engine and put Canibus in, put Canibus album, like, you'll see them come up. So I know that there are people who, like, they just want to ask the question without checking, and which is okay. It's not a crime to do that, but I let it be known that, look, man, I got 12 albums deep, so you must have stopped checking, because I didn't stop rhyming. I ain't stopped putting it down, so you must have stopped checking. Like, one of us stopped, and I didn't stop, so.
I mean, you had mentioned boxing just earlier. I mean, knowing how competitive of a sport, obviously, hip hop is, and how when opposed to popular culture has always been, you were one of the first rappers from the 90s to really popularize, hip hop's relationship with boxing by, featuring Mike Tyson in the second round KO video. I mean, what's your relationship with Mike today? And I mean, on that note, are there any athletes or any actors or anybody that might surprise who are fans of Canibus?
Well, I talked to Victor about 4 weeks ago. And, he was heavy in training and stuff like that. But I haven't spoke with Mike in a little bit. As you know, on DEFCON 0, I was working with Black Cobra.
That's right.
He's Muay Thai K1 fighter. No, and then there's been some fighters here and there that I've done like little ring entrance records for them that they use at their fights. Like I met them out somewhere, running around just on the humble, and they told me that they was fighting and stuff like that. And I get their email address and send them a track for their entrance record or something that they could train to. I think that's mainly what a lot of the fighters like. They like the music that they can train to.
Right. So, yeah, they do. We've had on the show tonight. We had Amir Khan, of course, the boxer.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I mean, as a British talent, as really a respectable British sportsman, because there are quite a few opposite of that. He said that exactly. We asked him towards the end of the interview about hip hop, and he was saying that just what he said there. He loves hip hop because it's amazing music to train to. I know for a fact he's been given some of your albums to train to because one of our listeners told us that they know him and they gave him the albums. So it could be the fact that this Saturday then when he's taking on Judah, it could be the fact that he trained and he will win because of the Canibus albums. So you're right, man. It is about training. It's that killer blow. That's what it's all about.
All of them when I ever talked to the fighters after I made a song for them, they always say that, that they were training, real hard to it. So that's the part that always sticks in my memory. And, it's a good look. You know what I mean? If they could get something that they could train to the point that they train to it, and then, they aren't afraid to say later on, like, listen, I trained to this, or, that's just a good look. Khan gets busy. Khan's nice with it. I think him and Victor are friends. I remember seeing them together one time, like, at backstage at one of those fights, like talking and stuff. I remember seeing the YouTube of them, so I know they're friends. But that's good, man. That's good. That's good.
Yeah, and he's like I say, as we said to him himself, he's a positive man. Not just going out there and having the bravado of maybe like Zab Judah, but also to have that kind of positivity in what he does away from the gloves, and that's really tied into what we're asking you about there, about adding something to other artists, old and new, and to bring them out. Let's talk about some other future projects then, and I think Architect, you'll be heavily involved with this project, Sharpshooters. What can you tell us about this project?
Okay, Sharpshooters is I'll say a little bit and then Architect say a little bit. Sharpshooters is a project that was put together by Born Son, and K Solo, and then I got involved a little bit later. Like the title was Born Son and Solo, and then I got involved a little bit later. Also, you got the Sharpshooters on there, which is like Maintain, Willie Dynamite. You got some other MCs on there, Ja Vega, a couple other MCs that are on there, and then and then we recorded. I had John Cena on there. I had a track with him on there. Everybody knows John Cena, but I had a track. Sharpshooters is a hard hitting album. I'm all over the album. It's Son's project, and Son's working on that right now. And so, any minute y'all should get that project. So it's like that's what I mean when I said there's a lot of albums out there that haven't been released as yet, that they do have vocals of mine on there. There's only a certain amount of projects that I'm involved in, but there's just a lot of tracks, like both features and guest features, and just records that I participated in that have yet to be released. that are not in my possession. And so, you know, if I was to stop right now, right this second, it's a lot of material that would still come out. And so I think people need to kind of, if they're questioning what my work ethic is, or they're questioning slowing down or stopping or anything like that, maybe they should just try to find those projects where that I featured on and I'm involved with, because that's a good way to get your fix. I mean, those records, I go hard on everything, hard in the paint on everything. So.
And what about yourself, Architect? What's your involvement with the Sharpshooters project?
Well, yeah, I'll be mixing and mastering this one. I already started off on a few of the tracks already. Had the pleasure of meeting Son during the Lyrical Law mixing sessions, and we started it up there. And just been pretty much communicating over the internet and phone, and just slowly building everything until completion. But yeah, it's another hard-hitting album. A lot of good collabing on there. The group comes together well. A lot of hard beats. I'm just I just love being involved with everything in here.
That's what the people want.
It's like a dream come true to me, kind of.
Yeah, is that how you view? Is that how you view it? I mean, because like I say, you are at the forefront now when it comes to making the music that these astonishing MCs are getting on. I mean, like you said there, it must be an amazing feeling to be in that position. What can you tell us about the track Zombie? I've heard that name being thrown about for the Sharpshooters.
You asking me or asking Bis?
Ask yourself, Architect, if that's cool.
Oh yeah, that was that was actually like the first track that I got the mix down for it, and started that during the Lyrical Law mixing sessions, and I believe Bis put a piece of it out on the one of the Lyrical Law samplers. Yeah, it's a track featuring Bis and Son. It's a really a deep track if you listen to it.
All right, excellent. And another project there, of course, Canibus, you were mentioning there about how many projects you've contributed to, and if you stop now at this point tonight, there would be so many new releases with your voice on. Paranoid Chillin. Now, I remember about 2 or 3 years ago, first ever hearing about that project, Paranoid Chillin.
Yeah, Paranoid Chillin. Like, what happened with that project was, I said I was on board. I was going to do whatever it took to make the project happen, and I don't know if people involved with the project was waiting for me to vocal every track first or whatever. I don't know exactly what was on anybody's mind. I can't read people's minds, but if I'd have gotten all of the tracks, I would have vocaled them. You understand what I'm saying? So, so I didn't get the tracks, and that, that's really all I got to say about that. I don't know what else to say.
A project I'm sure you'll have a lot to say about is a project that I think everybody is looking for, and it's because of all the artists involved as well as your massive fan base. But of course, the Four Horsemen. We've had, as you know, we've had Raskas on the show. We've had Killer Priest up on the show. We even had, I think it was Pete Rock on the show saying he wanted to be involved as well. And what's the status of that project? I mean, have you come to is it complete? Is it ready to put a release date on the Four Horsemen project?
Well, as far as that project, I've taken a back seat to that project, as you know, or maybe don't know. 2000, that was the first time that the Horsemen got together and put records together for people. And 2000, I put it on the Horsementality track on that 2000 BC album. And since that, we just been recording and putting records out. I know that there was an album released. It was sort of premature because all of the tracks weren't. It didn't have everything on there. It just had some joints that we did that we could have put together and made a better package out of it. But nonetheless, it came out, and then we started recording again to get a new Horseman album out. So I've taken a back seat with that project mainly because I got other projects that I'm doing, and I'm not required to I don't have all the connections that these other guys got. Like these all the other Horsemen, they can You know, they can get MCs on the phone, they could get production, they could get all of these things at the snap of a finger, and you know, Raz really is like he's the captain of the ship with the Horsemen right now, as far as I know. So you know, you know, whenever I hear something, I respond, I get it popping. You know, Raz is the best person to ask as far as when is it coming out or when is it dropping.
That is surprising to hear. It's surprising to hear because we were always given the impression, obviously, it's a kind of a four-man crew. But obviously, and Rask was on the show a few months ago, and he was saying, yeah, everyone's involved, everyone's ready, 100%. But time changes, I guess. I mean, you've got Lyrical Law on your hands at the moment. You're shipping these CDs out. There are other priorities, aren't there? Naturally, for any artist, there are more priorities than something that might come out, you know, in December or something. So you're just putting things in order. That's how it sounds. Have you contributed already to the project? I mean, have you contributed anything so far to the new project, to the Horseman?
Yeah, I put 6 verses to that album, to the Horseman album. I got 6 verses on that album. So, you know, I don't know what order it's going to be in, how it's going to be done, but I got 6 verses on that album.
Excellent. That's good to hear that they're laid down. Now, talking about future projects is what we've been talking about. Rip the Jacket 2, 4 Horsemen just there. Sharpshooters we touched upon. Spoke a little bit about Paranoid Chillin as much as you've been involved with that. What about a Lyrical Law Tour? Because this is something a lot of people are asking. When is this album going to take to the road? Obviously, you've got a lot on your plate at the moment. And when it does, what are the locations going to be? What are your sort of plans? Are you planning to come to Europe? What places would you be planning to hit up if and when you get time to get this Lyrical Law Tour together?
Well, I really wanted to, you know, I'm thankful for how everything is gone up to this point. And like I said, if you had to ask me what's my favorite album, like right now, you know, Lyrical Law is my favorite album, and it might be for some time, just considering just all the guests that's on there and how everybody was just going for broke. Everybody was rhyming, you know, like there was no tomorrow on that project. So. You know, I would have hoped that the record would have just sold more, and then in that case there would be a budget for, you know, to just set up like 3 shows that were unpaid, and then or sponsorship, like some type of assistance, you know, because you know a tour in 2011 is not an easy feat, and so there had to been some capital there somehow. And unfortunately, it hasn't made that mark. And so, while I'm not saying that the tour is dead, I'm just saying that I can't do everything myself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I fully understand that. But again, it's all those people who love Canibus, the artist, love Canibus, the man. So many people have got close to you because you allow them to get close. And so they start to demand, don't they? Because they want more. They want more things to fill the plane. I know one thing a lot of people have been thinking about and asking about is when there would be a tour. But imagine that, though. Imagine Lyrical Law Tour with Chino XL coming with you, with some of these people that are in these ciphers on this album coming along for the ride. That'd be a classic, I think.
Yeah, man. I mean, you know, if... Hey man, you know, anybody that I work with will tell you when they get the concept together and get the or whatever the mission objective is. Once that's in stone and that's set, then I add on to it. It's very difficult for me to you know, to kind of like bring the bag of tricks to the first meeting, because I don't know what the parameters are. I don't know exactly. I haven't figured out what the approach is yet, and so I kind of wait until things are lined up, and then I jump in. So, you know, that's how it would have to be with either a Lyrical Law Tour or with you know, like the Paranoid Chillin project, or even like the Horseman project. Like when they're you know, when they're pretty much decided on what they're going to do, you know, I'll go in and add on the rest of the verses and, you know, participate.
No, absolutely. I understand that. You can only do what the information allows you to do. This is what you're saying.
That's why, like, Son and I work together so well, because, you know, and that's why he's got that Sharpshooter album, because, you know, we went in, man. Like, we was working on Melatonin Magic, and Sea of Tranquility came out. We switched gear. We did the Underguards, and we switched gears and went to went to Lyrical Law, and we got a lot of the Sharpshooters joints done during that time. So you know, I just I want to see I want to see that album do well, because there's a lot of hard hitting rhymes on there. It's probably like just as hard as Lyrical Law, if not harder. And then it represents like what Son wants to do, because Son has been an MC that's been rocking with me since '07, and the first track that he came out on was Liquid Words with me and Priest, and you know, Priest had open arms with him because he was just so ill with it, and you know, his attitude was second to none. I mean, Son always comes in as you know, a real strong man, you know, like a strong safety. But then as you start to see, you know, you start to see what he could bring to the table, you start to see like how he's a front man. So you know, I think that Sharpshooters album is gonna be something that people could look out for. I know Architect's got some projects that he's working on right now. We got maybe 1 or 2 little secret projects that we're working on, and you know, with you know, with that, with just the right, you know, the right moves here and there, I don't see any reason why people won't be hearing those projects soon.
Oh, excellent. I'm sure that's going to please a lot of people to hear that in stone. Now, the press for Lyrical Law, I think, has been excellent from what I've seen so far. I was really pleased to see the kind of British businessman's newspaper, The Guardian, actually including the information on that. How did it end up in The Guardian? Was that just their journalists being very good at what they do and looking at all genres of music to get that into the newspaper, or did you contact them directly? I mean, not many hip-hop artists in America get in The Guardian.
Hey, listen, Montana, I gotta tell you, man, I think there's a lot of secret Canibus fans out there, and they'll, you know, when they see that nobody's really paying attention to them too much, or they got some freedom to say my name and sort of like add some spotlight or some limelight to what I'm working on, they do it. They do it without any hesitation, and I'm appreciative of that. And so without blowing them up and like sort of taking away their cover, you know, I do want to send a big ups to them, because I know that they kind of do it. They do it at their behest, like possibly to their detriment. Like, you know, who knows what type of trouble they'll get in if they either play my music or they write a great review for the album. I mean, who knows, you know? Because a lot of those things that we spoke about on the last interview, they still exist. They just they've been pushed to the back seat, or it's made some people just kind of like pack up shop and try to resist from like another angle. You know, maybe something a little bit more opaque and behind the scenes. But you know, I don't know how it got in The Guardian. I know it was somebody that just said, "Hey man, you know, this album's got to come out." I mean, because there's topics on Lyrical Law that I touched on that nobody really said much about anywhere in rap music, and I'm not sure if I want to reiterate that now. But you know, in the third, fourth quarter, particularly the fourth quarter this year, I mean, there's a lot of things that's going to happen that globally, you know, the world's going to change. And so, you know, whether anybody likes it or not, it's going to change. And I don't think that everybody's prepared for that change. I think that there's a few at the top of the the pyramid that's prepared for that change. They've been preparing for quite some time. And then the rest of us are sort of left to, I don't know, fend for ourselves, figure it out for ourselves, become extinct, die off. I don't know. But I do know that there's some topics on Lyrical Law that was touched on, particularly in Lullaby of Champions and The Road that was done by Son. And I feel like, hopefully, our angels, they're watching, and we will be preserved in order to continue to make music and continue to make hip hop, and then possibly hip hop will change its direction. And like I said, some of the more altruistic facets of hip hop will start to make themselves evident, and then a lot of the negative and the things about hip hop that are not so positive. I think those things hopefully those things get pushed to the back seat. And then, and then the more the more meaningful lyrics start to show up in hip hop. And so that's really what I wanted to I wanted to just lay some light to that. Just like I said, man, I don't know. Like you don't even really know what I'm talking about, do you? Like when I say like Lullaby Champions, like certain things that I'm talking about that no one's really.
No, I do. I do fully understand, because I think The Guardian, with it being a broadsheet, with it being a paper that you have to read with very few pictures, I can't think of a better British newspaper to feature Canibus in, because that's what your music represents to me. I think Lil Wayne can have the Daily Mirror, the Sun, all these kind of white van driver papers. Those sort of artists can be in those because they're about the pictures. You need a picture of Lil Wayne for people to read it. But I feel with The Guardian, like you said, I was going to mention this, you cover so many topics in your music, and even on Lyrical Law, even though it is ciphers, like you said, you still cover these topics, that The Guardian is a reader's paper. And I think Guardian readers, if they've never heard of Canibus and they thought, I wonder what that guy, that journalist is talking about, I respect this journalist, let me just go online and check it out. Guardian readers would get Canibus. Guardian readers would need Canibus. So I think it was a great newspaper to be in. Speaking of Lullaby Champions, we'll get to round things up very shortly, but why was that omitted from the album, and was there a plan there? I know there's been a remix EP that's surfaced this week.
Well, the original song was for a group. The original Lullaby Champions, the beat was from a group. That track was taken from a group. I later went on and did my research, and it's a group, like a huge group. So I didn't want to create any issues with like taking their production. So I omitted it from the album for that reason. I leaked it earlier. The earlier version was leaked because I loved the track and I loved the message. I felt like I added on to the track, and so because I would never like remake someone's song without either trying to add on to it or just try to give it like a hip hop feel, and still while yet still adding on to it. And so I left that track sort of to the listener to listen to it a cappella. And so maybe the words would sink in, hoping that the words would sink in a little bit more. I guess that remains to be seen, and we're just going to keep it moving.
Exactly. And that's what it's all about in 2011. Architect, do you want to speak there about Lullaby Champions?
Yeah, well, pretty much exactly what Bis said, and we decided to put the acapella on the album, like you said, to let the lyrics sink in. Plus, knowing that like all the fans love to remix his music, it gives them a chance to take one of the acapellas off the album and do what they want with it, which is already being seen. I think I seen the other day one of the mixers, Omni, putting out like a 6-track EP of different types of Lullaby Champion remixes and stuff like that. So it kind of just gives the fans a chance to play with the music.
Exactly, and it's what we said throughout the interview. Your fans are not just people who sit on the other side of the fence. They have an active, and that's the key word, an active role in the career of Canibus, and I think that's massively important. And I think the most successful independent artists and artists that are making quality hip hop, if they close the door to the fans, I think that's when the struggle begins. So it's amazing to hear that your fans are given these opportunities without question. It's not as if you make an effort to do this; you do it naturally, and I think that's massively effective in terms of running now, of course, your own ship. This album, of course, on CannabisCatalog.com, available to purchase 3 CDs. Just timeless, endless amount of music for all the people listening to the interview right now.
I wanted to just give a big a big shout out, real big ups to respect. You know what I'm saying? Big respect to Liam Franklin, like LK. He was the one that handled all of the website, the artwork, the just the direction, both the creative and the the artistic side of things, like with the graphics, the website design, just the payment module, just how everything was set up. And I think LK is like, he's one of the best that I've worked with, without a doubt. And I want to give him a big shout out because without him, none of this would have been possible. And we got some other things that we're brewing that we're working on right now. And you know, that's another thing. Like a lot of times, these artists, I might be introduced to them as a fan of my music, but then over time, I get to see what their abilities are, and it never ceases to amaze me how there's just so much the talent pool in terms of not just music, but you know, just graphics, drawing. You know, even just some of the ideas conceptually that these artists come with, and their creativity is second to none. And it's a pleasure to work with them. And I hope to see them go on to do things like in the future that you know, this is just the beginning. Like this is just a small stepping stone for them. And you know, one day that they get on, you know, they go on to do things that are so huge. It's like I'll sit back and really marvel at what's been done. And with that being said, I also want to give a thanks, big ups to Conspiracy Worldwide Radio. Both you, Mr. Montana, and Menace. Both of you have been two guiding lights for me this year, and I want to thank you both for that. And yo, man, you know, I'm not gonna close the door on any of this. We're gonna keep it moving, and we're gonna make that hip hop that y'all love, and we're gonna try to break these barriers, break these boundaries. And throughout the coming months, I don't know if I'll when next I'll be able to get on and say what's up to you guys and the rest of the hip hop listeners that y'all got. But you know, just what I want to say to the listeners that are out of the loop with some of the more serious things that are going on in the world, and some of the serious things that we face in the coming months. I just wanted to say to them, like, these changes, they start out as mental changes, consciousness, a rise in frequency, and so it all starts with the heart and the mind and the soul, and then you know, it's contagious, so it's going to spread throughout, you know, all the physical attributes that are here on the planet. And I just want to say to all those listeners, it's like, you know, just make sure that you get right with your family and your loved ones, and get right with your maker and your creator, and you know, and don't fear nothing. Like, cut the fear out, because fear will stop you from coming up with a good solution to an insurmountable problem. And you know, with that being said, I just want to thank everybody for, you know, holding it down for the kid, and I love you all.
What a perfect way to end things up. Listen, guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. I look forward to speaking to you again, and looking forward to doing all we can do here at Conspiracy Worldwide Radio to promote hip-hop, and you're an absolutely massive part of that. And I hope, well, you've already told us you will be. Even if you stop now, you said you've got so much to still release. So that's a pleasure to hear. Listen, man, take care of yourself, Canibus Architect, as well. Thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for being a part of this as well and making things happen. And let's just push forward into 2012.
Thank you.
All right, man. Thanks, Montana.
Much success, fellas. Much success.
Much success from Conspiracy Worldwide. It's Canibus, it's Architect, it's the Friday Night Live Show.